Hello everyone, welcome back to Small, the Great Ace Attorney 2. Wait, fuck. Wait, no, I need to hit the title screen theme of the Resolve. Hi. God, this is not gonna work well if I'm just gonna keep hearing the first game's soundtrack on the title screen. Hey, I think the idea is I want this to be playing. Isn't that cooler? I'm assuming this is the title screen for like the title screen music for like the 3DS version, right? Anyway, hey May, hey Curb, how you two doing tonight? Oh god, I forgot to fill up my glass of water. I should probably go do that because I'm going to be speaking a lot today. One moment. I will be back in like a few seconds. Alright, hello. Picking up a pizza in about 15 minutes. Cool. Even if there's nothing really of note. To be the murder weapon, I'm sure. So I'm assuming you played a bit more since, since I said I was gonna stream tonight. Right, Curb? Funny how it works out that we're both playing through this game at the same time, like just like the last game. Anyway, let's read some KOKORO. Sholmes.
It was a ghastly
yeah, let's fucking go.
Night.
Sorry.
One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road. As the victim lay at death's door, the mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved. But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern Exchange student from his harrowing plight than in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night. I dare say most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day. Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas.
I thought it was about to say cold steel. I gotta be honest.
Though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
Are we gonna find out who those fucking Macbeth-like dudes were in the previous game? Anyway, you finished both the game on month's release. Yeah. Cold Steel feeding right? My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer, just starting out on my journey. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law. I forgot what, like, I kind of, let's see. Having made the long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. But since a particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale. A tale which was now about to awaken from slumber, thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. Yes. You refuse to remove the DLC costume. I need to put them on at some point. But like, we've just started the game. I think I should stick with the default until later, but we'll see. Are we gonna see that Daruma's eye filled in this game? Or is it gonna stay, what's the word? For like 2 different colored eyes. Poly... something. Oh god, I've forgotten. Anyway. I'm turning on just to see Sholmes in action. Let's just continue for now. I'm debating whether I should have it on for the first time we see Sholmes in this game, or if I should just keep it as default. No, you know what? Let's put it on. Let's put it on. Alright, one moment. I won't see Naruhodo's at all, though. That's the thing. Not until I'm in a courtroom, at least. Alright. There we go. Continue. There we go. Okay. Done. God damn it. What a delicious smell wafting up the stairs. I saw his through a flashback in the last case. That's funny. It must be nearly time for breakfast. I better go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite and say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate. Flatmate? Iris? What did you mean? Someone new. Japanese jumble mix, yeah.
Bruno, good. I'm just about to call up on you. The bacon's ready.
Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. I had a surprise this morning. Let's fucking go! Not another word, Mr. Naruhodo. This could be just the abstruse thing for my pre-breakfast. Stagnation repelling. Mental stimulation, my dear fellow. Morning to you, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, I see. So that's it. Why is he staring at me like that? I love all the characters in this game. Iris, Sholmes, they're all so full of character, but okay. The truth is as clear to me as day. My faculties of observation have revealed it again. What are you talking about? You, Mr. Naruhodo, have... Oh, wait, hang on. Naruhodo, have this very morning met with a surprise. Well, is that not the case? Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the 3rd button of your jacket. Clearly, when considered together, these 2 facts point to you having been flustered this morning. Can I talk now? But of course. Though I don't look for admiration, you understand. My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you. Oh, it has? And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember. By you.
You wholly pulled off your button off?
Ah, yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not? As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. I love the soundtrack, yeah. But then, to my utter dismay, the 3rd string snapped. Why? Why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder, then, that, in my vexation, I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place. Well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket. And it's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is. Somewhere thereabouts on the floor, one presumes. Helpful. What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction was unerring.
But early, Bruno said when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning.
Wait. Did he? Oh yeah, he did. Well, that really is a surprise. Look at him. Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire, the famous consulting detective Mr. Sherlock Holmes. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name. You know, it's funny. Ever since I played this game, whenever I go to say Sherlock Holmes, I always say Sherlock Holmes first. Am I the only one who's had that, like, name, like, overwritten in my mind because of this game?
Alright then, enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it gets cold. And I have a new herbal tea for you to try too. My latest special blend.
And here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholmes's lodger and companion. I was having a conversation with a teacher about Sherlock and it kept blowing out. Oh my god. Oh god. That sure is a thing. You get a music. We need if we get a movie based on that, we need to have a Benedict Cucumber play Holmes. Right. A truly exceptional young girl who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, as published in Rance magazine. So, Mr. Naruhodo, won't you put us out of your misery? Our misery? What surprised you this fine morning? Well, I received a letter from Japan.
Oh, from Susie, you mean? Was it? Really?
That's right, and she had some rather startling news, in fact. Ah, intriguing indeed. Oh, the misery. You must tell us all about it over breakfast.
Oh yes, what fun.
Let's fucking go. Now, of course, I need to examine absolutely fucking everything, if the game lets me. That machine really is imposing, isn't it? But I can never remember its name.
Well, because it has great analytoscope. Can analyze anything at all.
That doesn't really help me. What does analyzing something even mean? Ah, an extremely astute question, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry, I need to remember, I need to pronounce it like a British man would say Naruhodo instead of Naruhodo, right? Naruhodo, right? Well, as I was said, my machine here spits out analysis result of anything with which you can care to present it. Naruhodo. Yeah, that's right. Oh god, I have to get my fucking, Gina voice back. Oh shit, I'm not ready for that whenever she reappears. Oh god, if it's gonna be this chapter, it probably is gonna be this chapter. But how to interpret those results, that's the key. And I confess I have no idea. Clearly, I'm going to have to construct a great analytoscope. Solve the problem. That might not help. The GAA? My Scrunko. Bank was calling her Scrunko as well. Books, papers, scientific implements. These shelves are stuffed to the gunnels. Miss Sato wouldn't be able to help herself if she were here. She can't stand mess.
Susie might not be able to stand this, but you wouldn't dare touch those shelves.
Oh, why not?
Everything's intricate, balanced. Well, he spends ages on it. If you even to touch one thing, the whole lot would come tumbling down. Susie noticed it was a very delicate arrangement, right from the outset.
You make it sound like a meeting of great minds. But the truth is, Mr. Sholmes just needs to tidy up. And the violin? Ah yes, Mr. Sholmes' faithful musical companion. Wasn't this violin made by somebody famous?
Yes, it's a Stradivarius. Though I'm afraid you'd have to save up for 100 years before you could afford one, Bruno.
But didn't you buy it for a song, Mr. Sholmes? I found it at a pawnbrokery among the forfeited articles. It clearly said Stradivarius on the label. What? The ignorant broker had no idea of its true value, you see, so I paid a mere 55 shillings for it. Yes, I have something of a turn for shopping. Sherlock Holmes, bargain hunter. But is it really a Stradivarius then? But of course, my dear fellow, it said so on the label. 63 cents. Right. I think perhaps the ignorant broker had something of a turn for selling. Rest in peace. How do I know if I've examined everything? At least this game doesn't, at least I don't think it has any, like, achievements for, like, examining every single piece of thing here. Like AI the Somnium Files does if you're in boss's room and you analyze, you inspect every fucking thing. You get an achievement for it. Ugh. When it gets to this time of year, Londoners seem to have their hearths alight all day long, and I love it. There's something very relaxing about watching the flames flit and dance about. The dialogue never ends, yeah. But the fireplace in the days of summertime is a waste of space. It's really no use at all, It's no use!
Rather like a great detective in the days of no crimes, no criminals, Hurley?
But consider this. Instead of a fireplace, a frost place. That's my latest idea. I have a aircon. An extraordinary hearth from which emanates a cool breeze in the hot summer months. What do you think? I think if you invented such a thing, your name would go down in history. I don't know who invented the aircon, so... The principle is extremely simple. One must of course, light a coal fire in the hearth. Yes, of course, brilliant. The trouble is, none of the fires I build ever burn coal. How it taunts me. Wow, your name must go down in history, Curb. So, as you British say, it's a bit of a damp squib. I'm guessing that was the whole fireplace, yeah, okay. Ah yes, the huge metal chest with the lace cloth lid on it, being used as a table for tea and coffee. It's very sturdy, that's for sure, and firmly locked shut.
That chest contains my father's detailed records of Hurley's many cases.
Yes, I've been led to believe, though personally, never actually seen inside.
And that's the way it will stay. Those papers, secrets between Daddy and me. If you go opening it uninvited, you might just find yourself being bitten.
What is there, a piece inside there or something? Should be back soon, pizzas awaiting me. Enjoy the pizza! Alright. These are different pieces of evidence from cases you solved, aren't they, Mr. Sholmes? They're different from the first game as well. At least I think. Some of them. Like the chess pieces. Not quite, Mr. Naruhodo. Not quite. These trinkets are a selection from cases I've sold with particular aplomb. They are souvenirs of my success. Memories, Mr. Naruhodo. Memories. Really? So tell me about the case in which the bust of Napoleon featured. I forget. Memories, he says. Wonderful, Mr. Sholmes, wonderful. Guessing Iris is not what I meant to do, but... Hello. I look forward to finding out what aroma your tea will have, Iris, every single day.
Oh, well, I infuse a different concoction of herbs from the garden every time, so it's never the same twice.
When you call it a concoction, it sounds more like a science experiment than something for tea time.
Oh yes, that's because different blends can have very different properties. Some calm you down, some make you feel jolly, some give you energy. Today's particular blend is something quite special, so you're really in for a treat.
That sounds ominous. Ah yes, this is where you note down ideas, isn't it, Iris? Excuse me. What's in the melting pot today? The blue carbuncle?
Yes, it's from a case of theft that Hurley solved ages ago. It's a theft of a precious stone. A carbuncle is another name for a garnet, you see. Especially if it's cut with a round at the top.
Oh really? And this garnet was blue, was it?
Well, that's the thing. They're usually red. No blue garnets have ever been discovered.
Oh.
So who knows what the stolen gemstone actually was? That's the real mystery of the case.
A proper Herlock Sholmes conundrum, huh?
I can tap with my eyes shut, you know.
I can believe it. When a deadline's approaching, you sound like a Gatling gun.
That reminds me of a dream I had the other day. It was such a funny one. It woke me, actually. I was sleeping for a whole hour in the pitch black, but I didn't make a single mistake.
That's incredible.
But then, when I got light, I found that there wasn't any paper in the machine. Now, I wonder if I'd actually been typing at all.
I think you might just have fallen asleep on the job. There's so many different bottles up there in that charming little set of white shelves.
Oh, do be careful, Bruno. You mustn't try the contents of any of those bottles, even if you're hungry.
I wouldn't do something so stupid like that. I'm not a child, you know.
Well, I wish I could say the same for Hurley. The other day, he polished off a full bottle of one of my alkaloids.
He what?
He said he was hungry.
I'll be extra careful. I'm assuming that's everything. Yeah, I don't think I've missed anything. Oh! Alright. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, about this. Shh! Not another word! Ah, yes, I see. This would be a collar. For a breed of miniature canine with a particularly long neck. And for winter use. Actually, it's the armband I always wear that symbolizes my role as a defense lawyer. Precisely, which leads us to but one conclusion. Your arm is, in fact, the particularly long neck of a miniature canine. I'm starting to wish I'd never shown him this now. The man's barking mad. I have to always show the fucking lawyer badge in every game whenever I get the opportunity.
Oh, so you have scale balances in Japan, do you?
Well, yes, but nothing like the Old Bailey's huge example.
The thing about those scales is they're only ever in balance right at the start of trial, aren't they? Otherwise, they always seem to be hanging one way or the other.
I'd noticed that exact same thing. I wonder if there's anything else I can... Oh. Kazuma Osogi. Yeah. That's right. The way they use those skills is so fucking cool. Yeah, it's great.
Oh, is this Japanese kanji script embroidered here?
That's right. The name of the armband's owner. Yeah. Kazuma.
Ah, so that's how you write Naruhodo, is it?
Actually, no. It's my best friend's name. Not mine. It's pronounced Kazuma Asogi. Asogi. I think that's how you pronounce it, yeah. I actually believe this armband in some way embodies a spirit, you see.
So you have to write all those lines just for one person's name. Kanji is funny, isn't it?
That's right. Never mind my feelings about my best friend. It's lines I really want to talk about. Best death in history, he tripped over a fucking cat. Oh god. That's right. Oh no. Alright. What you got? Mr. Sato's letter. Wait, can I move? I can go upstairs. I'm guessing I'm gonna have to talk, so I'm gonna go up here and inspect first. Nice to be back. The office spade. Now that Sato-san's gone, the shovelers aren't represented to correct me. Maybe I have to do it myself. That's not a spade, Naruhodo-san. It's a shovel. So Sato-san, she said that she left here with me. I still think green tea is just too bitter though. Thank goodness for sugar and milk. Mr. Strom certainly wasn't expecting the acrid taste that one time. I'd never heard of anyone let out a scream like that before. I hadn't seen anyone fall down the stairs quite like that either. Objective 2017 is a flat remix of the theme. I see. It always brings a smile to my lips when I'm feeling a little down. I'll have to take a listen to it again. The kettle's gently simmering away on the top of the stove as usual. It's kind of Sato-san to send that Japanese tea. Iris really likes it. But for me, the sound of the stove and burbling kettle that I like the most. On biting winter mornings. Now, at first glance, my desk here might look as though it's a mess. However, it's not a mess at all. Everything's exactly where I want it to be. But whenever Sato-san looked at it, she'd put her hands on her head and say, "Oh dear." Her way of saying that I should make it more orderly and neat, make it a more orderly and neat mess. I miss that. Ah yes, the Daruma doll I brought with me from Japan. I always intended to color the other eye once I become a fully fledged lawyer, but it's still winking at me, like it's trying to say, I can wait, take as long as you need. Or maybe not. I'll just have to keep on doing the best I can, I suppose. The table. It's Sato-san's desk. I suppose it won't get used now that she's gone back to Japan. It'll just have to wait here patiently for its old friend to return. Yeah. I forgot how much I love this. I love how you're just like just freaking out over the music when you're watching. Yeah. I feel you though. Whenever I'm like watching someone else streaming, I'm always like nerding out over the soundtrack. It's a bad habit. It's not good to just spout random soundtrack facts at people, especially when they're playing Trails games, you know? I still do it, but you know. I never did see what Sato-san's room looked like. Could go in now, of course, but I don't dare. There's a young maid in private chambers, a place of bittersweet secrets. Although, from the laughter I used to hear when Iris would visit, I imagine it's mainly sweet. Look at the prawns and the anemones gently swaying around in the tank. Regular cleaning, some food, and fresh seawater is all they need. And some conversation, of course. It seemed like a lot of effort at first, but it was worth it. I'm starting to be able to tell what they're thinking. Funny to think that so many people in London had aquariums like this once, when they were in vogue. You never expect to find sea anemones in the middle of the capital. I think I'll have to name them soon. But this music's so nice. I'm guessing that's been examined. Yeah, easy. Alright. Time to go actually talk with Sholmes. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. This is a letter that arrived from Japan this morning by international post.
Oh, how lovely. Look at Susie's beautiful writing. Wish I could read it.
Time to progress the plot after 20. It's been 30 minutes. I have the time. I can tell how long I've been playing. And how is your judicial assistant faring? May I ask? She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she actually appeared as a lawyer in the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case.
Oh, really? Oh, isn't she wonderful?
A cut above your good self, my dear fellow. I've won cases too, you know. Apparently, Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness. Natsume. No, I don't recall that name. Of course you do. We helped the man twice. You know, in those 2 cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago. Yeah, okay. Ah, the mustache-twitchy man, with the somewhat feline eyes and mustache.
He didn't have 2 mustaches, Hurley.
Yes, who could forget those 2 cases? They made a very deep impression on me. Although I must confess the details are a little hazy now. A very deep impression they made on you, clearly. Here we go. So, what is this startling news penned by Miss Susato? Do you remember the case of the haunted lodging, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes, it's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that a case of that nature did not occur. He's totally forgotten then. Anyway, in her letter, Mr. Sato asked that we read over her case notes again and investigate further. Though it took place half a year ago, for what purpose? Because something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. She suggested that the real reason why she was recalled back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with that case of the haunted lodgings. Oh? When Mr. Natsume's returned to Japan, Mr. Sato's father questioned him about the case, she says. And something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikotoba, prompting him to send that telegram.
Oh, that case, yes. It was very strange, wasn't it?
Yes.
And it completed the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication too.
Oh, compiled, right.
Compiled into manuscript, but then Hurley said I couldn't publish it. But then Hurley, he was all funny about it, remember? He was very mean. That story must not be published, he said, very mysteriously as well.
Really? I said that? Are you sure? Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Miss Susato was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had returned to Japan?
It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at Dover. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan.
Indeed it was, due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe. That's right, telling her to return urgently. Yes, because her father had passed away. No. It just said he was suffering from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead. But according to this letter, that news about her father's funeral was just a ruse.
A ruse? So Susie's daddy lied to her that she'd make the voyage back home? Why would he do that?
I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that. I wonder what Mr. Sato's father is hiding.
Hurley, do you know what it's all about?
Ah, well, who can say? But you said... Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow. My calendar's surprisingly full today. And a stringent analysis of the matter would be excessive, I feel, even if I were quite at leisure. So, man the fort in my absence, won't you, Iris?
I will, Hurley, don't worry. See you later.
This isn't the same case as the one in the book that we had before, right? In the final case of the last game. Yeah. Okay. I don't think it is. I think it's a different one. He scuttled off rather quickly there. I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. Soseki's-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By, of all people, Mr. Sholmes.
I found them at last!
Iris, are they?
The notes about the case, that's right. Susie and I compiled them together. The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them, Bruno?
I have to get my pizza and it isn't ready yet. Oh no. Absolutely, thank you, Iris. This was in the first game, I remember this track, but holy shit. I have no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows with this case. But perhaps if I read over the note... God, the fucking accordion. Perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light. I recognize this from the first game. I think. Yeah, I don't remember this from the first game. Presto, yeah. That's the spirit! Time to travel back to the past. And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what happened to our investigation and that fierce battle in court that followed. Reliving every detail. I just need to find a clue. And I have all the time in the world. It's not the actual name, I just like calling it that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. Yeah, I remember this because this was in 7A. 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. God, it's such a cool vibe, holy shit. I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain. Because of course, right, yeah. We don't know why though. Unless it was because of the last case we saw. Anyway, it was 6 months ago, a mysterious incident that unfolded on the wintry streets of London. A young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement of Briar Road with a knife in her back. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. The fog was thick and nobody saw her attacker, but by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. That man was Soseki-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. Ah, the memories. Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Susato-san and I decided to represent Soseki-san in court. And, after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence. Joyful joy of jubilant jubilation! Was the man's reaction after the trial, but his jubilant jubilation was short-lived. We received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. The victim of the Briar Road stabbing has regained consciousness. Hurry to Bart's at once. So Susato-san and I summoned a hansom and headed immediately to the hospital. What's a hansom? 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 How do I pronounce that? Handsome? We hired a handsome man. The 1st of February. A horse-drawn cab, I see. There is a fucking rat. There you are, at last! Good morning, Mr. Sholmes. I think not. Oh, Susato's here, of course. You're late! What on earth took you so long?
Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes, and it's a 20-minute ride to the hospital.
That's right, and it's 5:30 now. I think we made very good time. That's quality hospital food. The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I have been waiting for what has felt like an eternity. In point of fact, I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by a telegram boy. Oh, like a telegram boy, not telegram, comma, boy. I thought he was calling Naruhodo, boy for a second there. No, and feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone had been roused at such an hour, I sent one to you. Well, thanks for that. Anyway, you're here now. The victim is over there. She's only just regained consciousness. That's right, we never got to meet her. You should introduce yourselves, and I shall observe from here. So that's the lady who was found on the snow-covered pavement with the knife in her back.
Her name is... yes, here we are. Miss Green.
Oh god, we have these fucking pieces of evidence again. Oh god, okay. Look, there's a photograph in this frame here. Look at this graph.
Oh, yes, it's a picture of a young gentleman.
He looks to be about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. Perhaps a young woman's special someone, do you think?
My, Mr. Naruto. I didn't know you had a sense for matters of the heart.
Not in the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of. I would have said son, but okay. Well, I guess no, actually, she was like 21, wasn't she? If I recall correctly. She was a student, wasn't she? This round wooden figure, isn't the most charming, is it?
Ah, I don't think that's a decoration, Mr. Naruto. It's an artist's mannequin, I believe, used when practicing sketching the human form in different poses.
Really? It's not exactly what you call a typical figure for that purpose, though, is it?
No, I suppose not. I confess I've never seen one quite so full-figured before.
Well, if you want to draw a full-figured person, it's the right tool for the job. There are lots of bottles in the cabinet, aren't there? Do you think it's safe to keep them like that?
If you were a patient here, I feel sure you'd have some medicine by mistake. You'd take some medicine by mistake while you're half asleep.
That is a worry, but at least the cabinet has a lock, even if it's only a flimsy-looking one.
Oh, I've no doubt you'd manage to unlock that somehow while you're half asleep as well.
There are limits to even what I can do when I'm half asleep, you know, Mr. Sato.
That must be about Miss Green's personal belongings.
She would have been brought directly here after she found stabbed on the pavement, though.
I expect a friend or family member probably brought some things for her.
Alright then, let's see what's inside. A change of clothes, no doubt, and...
No, Mr. Naruto, you must never scrutinize a young maiden's personal belongings.
But the young maiden might have chocolates, or biscuits, or caramel. That doesn't... Is that an excuse? Like, fuck yeah? We can eat if we steal from her bag? What? What do you mean? Is that why he lost his right to practice law? This looks like the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. Do not feed. What is this place, a zoo?
You know, I seem to remember seeing an almost identical sign in our local park.
For the pigeons, yes, this is a person. Poor woman. I hope she hasn't read this.
A mouse, Naruto! An enormous mouse!
Vermin in a hospital, that doesn't seem to be the best.
But it looks like a very healthy specimen, doesn't it? It's very plump.
I'm not sure we can say it's down to the excellence of this facility, if that's what you're thinking. I'm guessing she's been feeding it. The mouse. Is that a lucky emblem there? There are all sorts of medicines in this cabinet. Look, I'm not sure if it's safe leaving them in reach of everyone like this.
Yes, you're right. I can imagine if you're peckish, you might try a whole bottle or two.
Well, at least there seems to be a little lock to secure the cabinet doors.
I don't imagine it would stop you if you were hungry. I worry that you'd break the lock.
Hunger doesn't turn me into a criminal, you know, Mr. Sato. This looks like the treatment notes for whoever's occupying this bed. Let's see. Do not permit to run around the hospital.
The patient doesn't seem to be here at the moment, so...
He or she is probably running around the hospital then.
Oh dear, how very worrying.
What's worrying is why they haven't discharged the patient yet. I'm guessing that they're both referring to the rat. Okay. Good morning. What kind of voice works for her? Hello, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan.
Oh no! Was it you that? Oh, you, the man!
I guess that works. No, I'm a lawyer.
And I'm Susato Mikotoba. Pleased to meet you. Oh no, was it you then? Oh no, the one! No. I'm actually, I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. We heard that you gained consciousness and wanted to come to give you our best wishes. Best wishes for me? Thank you. I'm Olive Green. I'm an artist. Well, no, that's not right, is it? What I mean is, I'm trying to be an artist. Well, what I really mean is, I desperately want to be an artist. But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. So what are we stabbed in the back?
I don't think that's related, actually.
Gosh, this young woman seems to be bent over backwards to put herself down.
Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I suppose. To suddenly be struck in the back of a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green.
I was so cold that day, and the fog was so thick, I couldn't see a thing. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right? Yes, that's right. I'm very been in a comatose all this time. But the case has been solved, hasn't it? Well, I've been in hospital, I mean.
Indeed it has, my dear madame. Spectacularly by none other than I, Herlock Sholmes.
Mr. Sholmes, as you well know, it was Mr. Naruhodo's hard work in court that solved the case.
Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green?
Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly. Oh, I see.
That must be, forgotten his name. I really like doing his voice, though. I got my pizza! Yo, let's fucking go! Oh, God. I'm so relieved you got your pizza, Curb. Enjoy it. Enjoy every single bite of it. Anyway,
Me coming around seems to have made everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry. Should have never gained consciousness. It was selfish of me. And I'm also relieved that you're on mend, Miss Green. We really are.
with that kind of attitude, maybe her surname should be Blue, not Green. That's what they said about the first Pokemon games. People were too depressed in England, outside of Japan, that they had to change Pokemon Green to Pokemon Blue. Fuck. So you're an artist, are you, Mrs. Green?
Oh no! I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best. I mean, I'm a student of art, really, at Thorndike Academy of the Fine Arts. Oh my, Academy of Fine Arts, Great Britain is such a wonderful country.
Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts?
Oh no, actually, I don't deserve it.
I needed to yawn.
I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road.
I see. How very interesting.
Oh no, is it?
Brixton is some 10 shops away from the underground from here. And Thorndike Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton Town Centre. Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes? Perhaps not, but Briar Road is a far less fabulous part of town, a salubrious part of town by comparison, dwelt in those of inferior means, including the maleficent Mr. Moustache. Inferior means, I suppose Soseki-san does fit the bill. It struck me as somewhat out of the ordinary for a young fine arts student to be walking in such a district. That's all. What's this? She suddenly clammed up.
Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself prying into a young lady's private affairs.
Ah ha ha ha! Ha ha! Oh dear me, do forgive me. Imagine if the real Soseki Natsume was brought today. I think about that sometimes. If we had a time machine, what would, say, like, Beethoven think of, modern music, right? Mozart and all that. I'd be very curious. Obviously that's not really possible, but, like, be very interesting.
If you don't mind, I'm going to start shortly, so I need to pack my things.
It's, I think oh yes, of course. We won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green.
Is a bit of Mr. Narufoto here? Mr. Narufoto!
Narufoto now? Well, if you're looking for Naruhodo, the lawyer, that's me, but...
Oh, Mr. Narufoto, good. This is for you, Mr. from Mr. Saucy Nutmeg.
Saucy Nutmeg? Carti B. I think you got it wrong again. Mr. Natsume sent a message to me?
But why would a policeman be delivering a message to Mr. Natsume?
Exactly. What's going on? What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time in morning? Ah, what are you waiting for? Let me see that! Oh. Well, this is most unexpected. Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? Is something wrong? Mr. Sholmes, he says. Have you not seen this note? No, how could I have? It would seem that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest. A new case calls. A case of murder, no less. We must depart at once.
Murder?
Call a cab. Time is of the essence. But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit in his lodgings once he did. That will be entirely convenient.
Convenient? What do you mean?
It's all here in the note, my dear fellows. The murder we must investigate took place in Mr. Moustache's lodgings. Wait, what?
I'll have a fire, fiacre.
How do I say that word?
At once.
It was only yesterday that Soseki-san was in court, and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. And now, the very next day, there's a murder at the man's own address. He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Or so it seemed to us at the time, but we were soon to be discovered that was worse than we thought. Alright. Mr. Natsume's lodgings. Ground floor. Ah, yes. They did actually, yeah, the Macbeth guy. They did actually show this. Hey, yeah, so we're actually gonna find out what these deal was. That's cool! I like that. I like that it wasn't like, this doesn't feel completely retconned. They just didn't talk about it in the first game. It's like, this happened. Okay, cool. Okay. No, that's neat. I like that. What on earth?
Oh my, the gentleman is deceased. Without question. He's dead.
Welcome, student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! Mr. Natsume! Oh, why? Why is this happening? Why to me? I've only just got out of court yesterday. I was finally home after 2 days of misery. Oh, the misery. And then when I wake up the next day to this. No early bird should cut a worm like this. Woeful worm without a wiggle. I see you're in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache. Not the horrible Herlock Shorms. Sure, Wolf, show yourself to the door. I never invited you.
Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume.
I am entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. What can I do for you? Hey. Yeah, they are, really. The busybodies. Gregson! Ah, Inspector Gregson. What a pleasant surprise. Pleasant, isn't it? Gives me heartburn every time I see your face at the crime scene, Sholmes. Ha! I deduce, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food. Infinite fish and chips, yeah. Good morning, Inspector. This is a crime scene. Don't you go touching anything. Oh, good morning to you too, sunshine. God, I've missed this music, actually. I gotta be honest. There's something on the floor here. I feel like I should talk to... no, I'm gonna inspect everything first. We will talk to people after inspecting this. Oh, yeah, sit down off. You're gonna mess up my crime scene. Oh, no, just wanted to look, that's all. No chance, I know your kind. You'll mess it up just by looking at it. Someone's in a bad mood. There's certainly some bad air in here, isn't there? Ah ha 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 ha! Alright, it sounds like I'll better talk to the inspector first and try to curry some favor. What about this? What a terrible thing to have happened. It's only between this and those arrested for the incident with the pavement outside. And then, finally having regained my freedom, it starts happening all over again. And the existence of excruciating experiences. So the victim here on the ground floor, and your room is just one story up, isn't it? Yes, that's right. In a way, we were neighbors, I suppose. Did you know the victim were your friends? What's the matter with Soseki-san now? It was an innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken by it? I suppose he wasn't a complete stranger. Did he ever be to us? Never. On my own, I swear it.
What an extreme reaction. You're probably wishing you'd never asked now. Aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
When we found him here, I felt wretched. Which is why I sent word asking you to come. To that inspector over there. I see. Yeah, man can't catch a break whatsoever. So, Inspector, what was the victim's name? Who was he? Can't you see by tele? What a fucking name! Oh, That feels like a fucking like high school level joke that someone would make when studying Shakespeare works in English class, year 9 English class. I thought it was gonna be called like Macbeth or some shit.
Mr. William Shakespeare. He was a lodger here. As you can probably tell, he was an actor. Bit of a dead loss as it happened, or just dead.
Mr. Shakespeare. I can't take his name seriously.
It was the landlord, or Mr. Garrett, and the other lodger, Mr. Natsume, who found him. The fella didn't rise at his usual hour, so Garrett got worried and kicked down the door.
Macbeth is a Shakespeare play. Yes, yeah, that's why I thought, because it looked like he was dressed like, I don't know why I thought that's why, like, Macbeth, I know, like, I don't know why I associate this specific attire with Macbeth, specifically. Just something I do, I think. But yeah. But doesn't Mr. Garrett have a bad leg?
Ah, yeah, you're right there. It was that jittery Japanese hunchback over there who actually did the kicking. It was that
I'm trying to get my, Gregson voice back. Really? Soseki-san?
The victim was pretty hard up, it seems. Even done some time inside for pretty petty crimes. He had no money, no place to go, and no friends. His only acquaintances were the people in this house. Miserable life and a miserable end to it.
So, what exactly is Mr. Natsume still doing here? He's not involved in the investigation, so shouldn't you have sent him on his way in the crime scene?
Well, I'm not saying it's because the fella looks odd or anything, or that he acts suspicious. But I thought it would be prudent to take a statement from the culprit, cohabiter.
You nearly said culprit there, didn't you?
Oh dear. Mr. Natsume appears to be under suspicion again.
It certainly seems that way. He does come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he?
Oh man, how unfortunate.
Anyway, I can't say much about until the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fella's been gone that long. The body's still warm.
I caught up. I can't believe it was Shakespeare. Yeah. Shakespeare? What do you mean shame? I know, but Shakespeare is fucking great. Even the inspector would allow it. I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body. This is so fresh. Oh, you misread? Hello. Shakespeare's better. I'm guessing it's in the court record now. Yeah, Shakespeare.
Tobias Gregson, the detective in charge of Scotland Yard's investigation of the case. He's a stern and single-minded in his approach, and a great lover of fish and chips.
Shakespeare. Alright, hi. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing?
Ah, you need only observe to know it, my dear fellow. Investigating, naturally.
There's nothing unnatural about that pose. Or that outfit.
Mr. Sholmes, have you made some miraculous discovery?
Patience, my dear madam. Patience. We've not been here in this room 5 minutes. So far, all I've managed to deduce is what's actually happened.
My goodness. But isn't that everything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes?
Now that you propose the idea, I believe one could indeed see it that way. At the present time, I have managed to draw 2 incontrovertible conclusions. The first is that there was a physical struggle here last night, in which the victim fought for his life.
Thumbnail, thank you. Didn't we see him in the last game? We did see him in the last game. That's why I'm pointing out. I'm like, there was one, and I reckon that guy with like the beret was probably the murderer then. I just, I did the fucking, I did the same thing of drinking water too fast. Excuse me. I can't believe I did that 2 nights in a row. Holy shit. I'm so fucking stupid. Okay. I think it's gone. And the murderer used my pizza. Murdered with pizza. What a way to go. Mr. Natsume, what's wrong? Is something that Mr. Sholmes said significant somehow? No, don't mind me. Forget I was here.
And my second conclusion is that there was a poison lingering in the air last night that past the victims lived. No, nonsense!
Alright, Mr. Natsume, why are you reacting so extremely to Mr. Sholmes' deductions?
No. Please! Pretend I'm not here. Invisible, ineffable, inscrutable, insignificant.
Impossible to ignore.
You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes. Spare no detail.
But of course, let the theatrical tragedy before us be unraveled by my great deductions, presented for your pleasure in 2 acts.
Let's fucking go. Can't wait. We've heard some truly astounding great deductions from Mr. Sholmes in the past. No doubt this will be no exception. What miracles will unfold before our eyes this time?
So, my dear fellows, for your delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Herlock Sholmes's Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1.
Cause of death. Oh my god. Wait. Look at the outfit change here. Look at the outfit change. That just looks so straight. That, oh god. Anyway, most fun parts of the game. I actually do think I was a little critical of these parts in the last game. I was like, okay, these are fun, but I feel like they kind of pre-rendered them. Yeah, I feel like they kind of drag out for a little bit because you kind of go through the same dialogue like 2 or 3 times. But anyway, until you change it. But these are fun, so I can excuse it, you know.
Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the events that transpired in this disconsolate room last night. Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate, which contains, you will observe, 1/2 of a sizable bar of soup, meaningfully, intuitively.
Oh, I read that as soup. I was like, what do you mean soup? Soap. Clear poison.
Why is this soap set so purposely upon this dish? Like the victim's last supper, in fact, yes. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course. The fork reveals the answer.
Eating soap?
It appears that the young man's appetite was his undoing. Taking up arms in the form of his cruel cutlery, the victim engaged in a deadly battle for his life. Yet the struggle against his hunger was in vain, for in the end he couldn't resist the devouring the slippery feast. But London's foul soap besmirched by a foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of his plate. The soap and the lather about the young man's mouth are too perfectly matched to ignore. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to excessive ingestion of foul soap. Though personally, I have a great interest in the taste of the foul candle wax. Of course. A pre-rendered moment. Suicide or murder? The cause of death is identified. We proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Natsume being there. Was this suicide or murder? The audience will recall that the death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and die alone? The single teacup suggests the answer. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. The careful criminal could have absconded with his own cup to cover his tracks. Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. Though forced open now, at the time of the incident, the door was locked. And the sole key was in the victim's pocket. In other words, when the victims consumed the poison, he must have been alone. Alone with his inferior soap, from whence wafted inferior scent. And with that acrid aroma lingering in the air, the victim met his end in tragic solitude. We can take comfort in only the fact that his soul was well cleansed on its way to the hereafter. By soap. No possible perpetrator. Present. 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 I don't know why presented it like that. Thus concludes the final act of Sherlock Holmes' great deduction. Alright. Most of the time, shame. There's just one thing, Mr. Sholmes. You were disposed to identifying just one thing. Aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Naruhodo, pray, what concerns you? Well, no matter how hungry he was, do you really think the man would have just eaten soap? It is quite apparent that this man barely had a penny to his name. It was a curious thing, but to one so astute, soap can suddenly appear quite irresistibly appealing. You ever think how the inspector would look like a thumb if he had no hair? I need to make an image at some point then. I need to get someone to make an image. I need to see if we can get the... I need to see if I can ask Cattail to get the models for this game. Take off his hat, take off his hair. In truth, I've tried a little soap myself in the past. You've eaten it, you mean? His head is some shape, yeah. My dear fellow, it was some time ago now. My postulation was that it would cleanse my gut. And did it? As I writhed in agony on the floor and spilt the contents of my stomach, yes, I believe it did. He threw up. I'll check if the model's on the models resource. Cool, that'd be great. Hold up. I was gonna check one other thing. Oh,
Okay. The experience taught me... Oh. The experience taught me a valuable lesson. Soap is quite poisonous. It has an unpleasant taste and leads to great discomfort. In summary, I cannot recommend it. Believe me, I wouldn't eat it even if you did. Even if you did.
There's something that troubles me as well, actually.
Oh, what's that?
It's Mr. Natsume. I couldn't help noticing him shuddering and quivering out of the corner of my eye. It's almost as if Mr. Sholmes' deductions touch a nerve somehow. Nonsense.
Well, that clenched teeth episode didn't last.
I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, the great detective's deductions may need some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth.
Yes, Mr. Sholmes' observations and deductions are sometimes a little too sharp. He has a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head, driving it in... Jeez. When he does that, it forces us to straighten things out. Alright then, let's see what we can do.
Yes, we must pick out the keywords in Mr. Sholmes' quite brilliant deductions and discreetly exchange them for something that makes a little more sense. If we can do that, I'm sure we arrive at what Mr. Sholmes meant to say in the first place.
In that case, are you ready for the second performance of the day? Once again, my dear fellows, for your continued delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Herlock Sholmes's Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Alright. Careful of the... Okay, I've read this before, so I'm just gonna go through this. This is clearly the poison. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate which contains, you observe, was soap. Cool, meaningful, indubitably. Indubitably. Well, you can't deny that a fork implies the man was eating something, or about to eat something.
Yes, that's true. If I were to decide to eat some soap, I should prefer to use a fork than to attempt with the chopsticks.
And of course, only half of the bar's soap is left on the plate. They are unfortunately not. Oh no.
But there might be some other explanation. Something material that proves whether the man really ate some soap.
Other piece of soap. I bet it's that. Look, there's more soap on the floor here. Mr. Shamspeare must have really loved this stuff.
Let's not jump to conclusions, Mr. Naruhodo. Let's look closely at the soap. Do you see that it would fit together perfectly with the half bar on the table?
What the? How can that be?
I think they are two halves of the same bar that broke apart.
Take that!
Take that. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course. The other piece of soap reveals the answer. In being the other half of the soap on the table. In short, the victim was not eating soap at all. But it's obvious, really, for no depth of hunger could drive any man to eat soap. Fucking Naruhodo's face when he says that is like, why are you fucking lying? This bitch capping. Even I, with my unquenchable thirst for practical knowledge, took only a single bite. But that begs the question of how the man was poisoned, because there's no sign of any food on the table. An excellent observation, Mr. Naruhodo. god, that would be fucking amazing. You'd be fucking terrible at Among Us, yeah. I can see it now. Someone needs to make like a comic or something of that. That's so funny.
An excellent observation, Mr. Naruhodo, and one that furnishes us with the answer we seek. For London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate.
Mr. Sholmes is still pushing the soap argument then.
Perhaps he's suggesting the man licked the soap rather than ate it.
If soap was in London, soap in London is that poison, I don't think I want to be washing my hands with it. But there are no signs of any food in this room at all.
Of course, food isn't the only thing that passes people's lips, is it?
The fork! No. Yes, a Western vessel for serving the infusions of dried tea leaves.
It's a teacup, Mr. Naruhodo. You know, as you know as well. Stop putting on airs. And it's empty.
Ah, so we've already established that the victim wasn't eating soap when he died. However, there's significant evidence suggests he was drinking tea.
My thoughts exactly.
Take that!
I've not heard of Knives Out. What's that? Yes, the victim's life was claimed by the poison, a poison tainted, that tainted the teacup.
Indeed, cups have been the vessel of choice for practicing poisoners over the centuries. And it would appear that this victim drank every last straw.
There's no sign of food anywhere in the room.
Which leads us to the immutable conclusion. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to this ingestion of poison contained in this teacup.
Film where Daniel Craig plays the most ridiculous detective. I see it at a crossover with Among Us, really? Okay, wow. God, the music's so fucking good. Sorry.
The cause of death identified, we proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question.
Oh god, do you see that in the bottom left? There's like a little pixel on Sholmes' arm there. I'll zoom in, like bottom left. There's like a tiny pixel there. I thought I'd like spat on my screen at some point, so I got a tissue out to like keep wiping it, and I'm like, wait, it's not going. That's part of the game. Dead pixel or something.
Was this suicide or murder? The audience will recall that the death occurred during the victim's last supper.
Did the man die and dine alone? You have to mention it, it's so annoying now. Where Daniel Craig and Ryan Johnson showed up randomly. No, we were playing Pokemon, if you remember, during the Game Awards. I also don't know who those people are. I'm guessing actors, but I don't actually remember, actually. The Western vessel for infused hot drinks again.
Yes, we can imagine that shortly before his death, Mr. Shakespeare was having a drink of tea. There have been nothing remarkable about that, but what troubles me
is Mr. Natsume's reaction when he heard Mr. Sholmes suggest it. There's more to this deduction than it seems.
Must examine the scene of crime closely.
A single teacup, my ass. It's another Western vessel for infused. It's a teacup!
And it too is empty.
Given that he's actually holding this one in his hand, we can assume that this is the cup from which Mr. Shakespeare was actually drinking. But if that's the case, this changes everything. Everything we've used up to now is turned on its head. I have a bad feeling about this. I almost don't want to say it.
Yes, I know exactly how you feel.
Yo, Xenogears? Sorry. I don't know why did I make that joke last time? I feel like I didn't. The smash glass. The battle transition from Xenogears. Did the man dine and die alone? This other teacup suggests the answer. Yes, there were 2 teacups in this room all along. Oh! In other words, this is a strong indication that at the victim's last supper, there was a guest present. Know where the game the chef ad theme's from. At the very least, we can say now with certainty that somebody else was here in this room last night, taking tea with the victim.
What are you talking about? Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable.
To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however. Certainly. In which case... That was shown to you. In which case, what can we deduce about this possible guest at the table?
Well, allow me to lift the veil, my dear fellow.
Do you mean to say you know exactly who was in this room at the time of the victim's death?
Indeed, what reveals the answer is, of course, the broken lock.
I'm not sure I like what this discussion is going now. I'm afraid it's too late to go back to the halcyon days of eating too much soap. But the identity of the guest who was here last night and when the victim passed away is something I have a very bad feeling about. Well, you can try to ignore feelings, but we cannot ignore truth, Mr. Naruhodo. No, I suppose not. Time to look around again. The power books. At first glance, it seems that the only things in this room are the makeshift stage and the costumes. I overlooked these 3 books initially. Wonder what they are. Let's see. The titles read... These fucking 3 books again. Oh my god. Same, Naruhodo. Same. Wait, I'm sure I've heard those titles before. It could just be an incredible coincidence, but they're the exact same thing that Mr. Natsume purchased the other day. What? Yes, on the day of the unfortunate incident when Miss Green was stabbed, Soseki-san had been to a bookshop and bought them. That's right. And now those 3 titles are here in the room of the victim. Yet Mr. Natsume claims to have never been here before. What does this mean, do you think? I really don't know what to make of it. How familiar.
Take that!
Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the pile of familiar books. Quite so, it's no mere coincidence that these 3 titles are here in this room. It's the link to the truth, the missing link, the Kingdom Hearts missing link. Mr. Natsume, you purchased these books 4 days ago at a second-hand bookshop.
Coincidence!
In that case, you'll be able to bring the same 3 titles from your own room, will you not? This very moment.
No, never, none, not questionable.
If you can't bring your own copies here, it proves that these 3 books are in fact yours. Having purchased a book 4 days ago and returned to your lodging, you were arrested the very next day. God, it's fucking poses. So you conceivably brought the books here on that evening, but you never mentioned that. In other words, you could have only brought these 3 books here to the victim's room.
last night having returned to your lodgings after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey. In short, there's only one possible conclusion. The victim died here in this room last night as a result of poison. And that same night, the victim had a visitor. And that visitor... was you, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Thus concludes the final act of Sherlock Holmes's great deduction. Soseki Natsume at the scene, of course. And now Gregson is gonna go, hey, we're gonna arrest him, and then we're gonna have to defend the guy we implicated. I bet. Elementary. God, I really like his animations, I gotta be honest. Not again, not again, not again! Not again!
Well then, Mr. Natsume. It would appear you're going to have to accompany down to the yard. Again.
But wait! Hold your horses!
Yes.
Door! Key! Locked! Entry! Exit! Entirely impossible! He's so flustered he's being even stranger than normal.
What, you think that's an alibi? You could have just made a copy.
What?
You live in the same building after all. You'd have plenty of opportunity, I'm sure.
Naruto does a mouse on his shoulder with his DSC costume. I'll have to try it out at some point as well.
Misery me!
Sorry, sir. You'll get your chance to slip. You'll get your chance to give your side of the story later.
The facts speak for themselves, Mr. Mustache.
Yeah, oh the misery. I'm just waiting for him to say,
Oh, the misery! You horrible Sherlock Holmes!
he really has found himself an arch rival now, hasn't he?
Come on now, no dilly-dallying. Outside, there's a carriage waiting.
Welcome, student, Mr. Naruto Esquire! I never imagined I'd be in this position again, but... You have to help me, please, please! I'm innocent!
Alright, I understand. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it.
And one more thing.
Oh, yes?
My poor little kitty cat. Please give him his breakfast for me.
And so, his evil curse still apparently unbroken. Soseki-san found himself once again the prime suspect in a case of murder. Soseki is like the fucking Larry Butts of this game. Thanks to the incriminating deduction of the great detective.
My dear fellow, that honor belongs to you.
To be continued? Oh no. Well, at least that means Inspector Gregson is no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now.
Yes, that's right. Ah, of course.
What?
Have you forgotten what the inspector mentioned before? It was the landlord, Mr. Garadeb, who discovered Mrs. Shamspeare.
Ah, Mr. John Garadeb, yes.
I expect we could find him in his sitting room in the top of the floor as usual.
Right, we must remember to go talk to him later then. Alright. Oh god. Oh. Yeah. Oh, investigation part 2. Wait. When did we get to part 2? We didn't have a to be continued screen. Okay.
This is some sort of makeshift stage, I think, isn't it?
Where does the audience sit, though? For the nightly Shakespeare performances. Wait. Wait, so... I think part 2 did just start, yeah. Wait, so... Shakespeare and Shamspeare both exist? Simultaneously?
Actors aspiring to be the great state, but practice their art, Mr. Naruhodo, with or without an audience. In fact, on a related note, perhaps you should set up a mock bench for the defense in your office.
What?
Then you could practice your art every single day.
Please tell me Shakespeare's the killer. By the way, Curb, you've been spelling it wrong the entire time. It's got an E at the end. Shakespeare? Speare? I don't want to say that, but it's been like, you've said it, you've done it 4 times, so I can't imagine it's a mistake, right? If you think about it, if you promise to don a beard and play the role of judge... My mistake was on purpose, you saw. Sure. I'll think about it. If you promise to don a beard and play the role of the judge...
Well, if that would help you achieve your goal.
This I have to see. He literally fumbled the deal, yeah. Phoenix definitely got it from somewhere. And here we have another disproportionately large machine. This looks like a meter of some kind.
Ah, this is a gas meter, I think. It seems that in this district, residents pay for gas to use it with coins.
I see. Yes, now that you've pointed it out, I can see that there's a slot here that looks just like it would take a coin. So you mean, if you put a coin in here...
That's right, this will
excuse me.
buy you about 2 hours of gas and lights and heating.
So, if you're a poor person with no money, you'd have to sleep in the freezing cold.
Yes, or if you were a scatterbrain with no change because you forgot to exchange your money at the bank.
Thank goodness there's no meter in our office. This is a gas wall light, isn't it? It must be connected to a gas pipe in the wall.
Gas lights, a gas stove. London really is a city of gas.
Gas the city. But now I think about it, Mrs. Garadeb had an open fire at the top floor, didn't they?
Oh yes, you're right. I don't recall seeing a gas stove up there.
Well, I much prefer a real fire anyway, it's so much cozier. Please don't gas the city. Gas my YouTube. Go subscribe to my YouTube. Go, if you're watching, go to my YouTube, subscribe. Check this stream out on YouTube and give it a like. And comment. And gas the comment section. Alright. I never thought I'd see you make a D's nuts joke, Curb.
As we've seen from the outside, the window is completely bricked up. A vestige of the former window tax that Britons had to pay.
What strange things they used to tax in Great Britain. I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in a property. It's extraordinary. Play Devil May Cry 5. I shall one day.
It's heartbreaking to think of the poor having to block up their windows just to avoid an unaffordable tax.
Oh! What is it, Mr. Sato?
If you look closely, a number of bricks are loose.
So, oh yes, it looks as though an amateur has broken out a few of them just yet. Was it Mr. Shamspeare who did it, I wonder? Being the lodger renting his room. I wonder if that's what he was using the soap for.
Oh, look at this, Mr. Naruhodo. On the outside, there's a little ledge. And there's something on it.
What, outside? Oh, I didn't mean to investigate that. Look at these extravagant bright costumes. Somehow they look out of place in this room, with its grim, shady goings-ons.
This one looks like a king's attire.
A king? I've always dreamt of being a king.
Oh, I think you'd be much more suited to a feudal lord, a daimyo, or such like.
With a chonmage top knot, every Japanese man wishes he had a chonmage.
You'd look wonderful in one, and you'd already have the sword.
Can you imagine what would happen if I walked in the street of London with a chonmage and a sword? No, didn't mean to. Oh god. Tip to the wise: don't try controlling the joystick with the side of your face. That is what I'm doing right now.
It's so cold outside. You can feel it through this gap.
It did snow last night. It would be cold. But more importantly, what is on the ledge out there? What are those snow-covered lumps? Professor Layton technically has a cord, so you can get sword you can have a claw. I need to continue that series! I know he has a sword and miracle mask. I've only actually finished the first Layton game, and the Layton crossover with Ace Attorney. Which is funny, because it is technically a childhood series for me. I just never finished any of the games I had.
It's more bars of soap.
Soap? What are bars of soap doing lined up on a ledge outside the window?
I have no idea, but the pair of them look rather charming like that.
Still, that's very strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lined up outside the window. I think perhaps we should take one. There are two, after all.
Oh dear, I suppose we could. Oh, what's this? Look here at this soap.
Look at this soap! Ah!
Do you see in the middle there? There's a patch that's a different color. It's sort of transparent, but...
Some sort of fancy design, I suppose. Only in Great Britain.
Looks like the Hinomaru flag of Japan, doesn't it? How wonderful. It's probably a very expensive brand.
Expensive? Then, what's it doing in this ramshackle of old room? Actually, I just realized what Hinomaru means. Hinomaru, I think. Outline of the sun represent, yeah. The circle of the sun is what it means. Why does this look like a square olive? Oh my god. Oh my god, it actually does. It's Spencer, then what's it doing in this ramshackle old room? Okay.
There's not much on these shelves, is there? Just this wine glass and bottle. And both of them are cracked.
Yes, not much use, are they? What's the matter?
Oh, I was just reminded of the Reaper, that's all.
Prosecutor Lord Van Zeeks?
Yes, he's so reckless with his wine glasses. I was thinking it's a waste that he should donate, and that he should donate some to the needy.
You can suggest it next time we meet. Hold on, I need to remember the voice I gave Van Zeeks, actually. I was trying to do, like, Xemnas-ish impression for him. Not, like, quite exactly Xemnas, but it was close enough. What is this?
What's this?
It looks like part of an envelope, I think.
Yes, I think you may be right. Perhaps it was torn off when the letter was opened.
Is that significant?
Well, it's a little out of place, perhaps, when you look around the room. There's no sign of a letter, or the rest of the envelope, in fact, is there?
Ah, she's right.
And yet, we have the torn-off end of an envelope. It just strikes me as unusual.
I agree, we better take this, just in case. It's still on the floor, though. Is that a fucking wig from, like, the Renaissance era, or whatever, the classical era? Is that meant to be a wig? Yeah, it looks like a wig, actually, from this perspective. I think it's meant to be like a stool, like, cover to soften it, but, you know. Alright.
Oh, this poor man, so young to die. Do you suppose it was a very painful death, being poisoned as he was?
I don't know. All we can do now is hope that he'll be reborn to a better life.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I wonder. Do you think that putting our hands together in a Japanese prayer will help a British soul?
Sorry?
I made sure I had a reference just ready for an occasion like this, actually. This book is entitled The Beginner's Guide to Praying for the Departed, the British Way. I'll just reread it now, one moment.
There's quite a spine on that book, isn't there?
Ah, one of the teacups that Mr. Shamsby and his guests drank from last night. But don't go drinking from them, Mr. Naruhodo. There's bitter poison inside.
I'm not planning on drinking any, don't worry. Anyway, the cups are both empty.
That's true. So one was Mr. Shamsby's, and the other must be the cup that Mr. Natsume was drinking from.
But Soseki-san wasn't poisoned, of course. Perhaps we should take these so we can examine them in more detail later. Perhaps we should take them, but also leave them there at the same time.
Looks like you're having a good sniff around, eh?
Inspector Gresham, back so soon! I wouldn't call that soon. It's been like... I guess it's only been 20 minutes, but you know.
I'm through that little Japanese fella in this clink. Clink, I went and reported this to the investigation division. In 5 minutes' time, this place will be cordoned off by the yard.
Oh, I see. Well, we better be leaving then.
Poor Mr. Natsume must be feeling very low being back in the cell so soon.
Oh, what? And... wait, he's still alive?
What's wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
Ah! Oh, don't breathe candle lights but a walking shadow, a pro player! That struts and frets its hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. Now, how soundeth the next part?
It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Indeed, oh happy day! What? Walking Dead! Rare mix he's annoying, but has some very line. You can finally talk about this dude.
The fella isn't dead at all.
What was that nonsense he was saying, though?
I think, yes, it was from William Shakespeare's Macbeth. A soliloquy from Act 5, Scene 5.
Shakespeare. So it was that the victim, Mr. William Shakespeare, came back to life. If the man had indeed been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. He was taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for treatment. And Inspector Gregson evicted us from the scene of the crime, whatever that now was. Huh. Okay. Yeah, this guy was also in the last game. You see him there? He showed up very briefly.
Whatever do you think will happen now?
Good question. What a strange situation for Mr. Natsume. Arrested for murder, but then the victim comes back to life.
I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. It seems very likely that Mr. Shamsby did consume poison as we deduced, but it was an accident, attempted suicide, or attempted murder. Until the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep Mr. Natsume in custody.
I suppose so. Let's hope it doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cells. Total 30 seconds of screen time in the last game, yeah. Oh, what's this? What's that man doing over there? He looks like he's trying to see into Soseki-san's lodgings. I see the soap on the side as well.
Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
Excuse me, could we have a word? He just ran off.
I feel sure I've seen that man somewhere before. Where was it?
I do too, but I don't remember. This is neat. With the exception of the top floor, where Mr. and Mrs. Garadab live, all the windows are bricked up.
Yes, that's because of an old window tax that was charged on the number of windows the property had. In order to pay less tax, the poorer members of society filled in many of their windows.
But the tax has since been abolished, hasn't it? So the windows could all be opened up again, surely.
Unfortunately, it would appear that the residents of this can't afford to pay to have the work done.
Yes, that is a sad state of affairs.
Especially for people like poor Mr. Natsume, who have to live all cooped up in a windowless room.
I suppose that's the price you pay for living in very cheap accommodation.
It all seems rather pointless when you put it like that.
Wait. Yeah, the Garadabs. I'm gonna have to go there as well. Okay. The Garadab household. Mr. Natsume's lodgings. On a prominent position there in the corner. Sometimes when I look at the building, I can't help but feeling that it's a bit of a slant.
It does rather look as though it would collapse even in the smallest earthquake, doesn't it?
And isn't it supposed to be haunted as well? I think I might have a hunch as to why Soseki-san has such a hunchback.
There always seemed to be a bicycle outside the Garadab residence. I read that bicycles are extremely popular all over Great Britain at the moment, in fact.
That one seems very warped though, especially the front wheel. Is that to make it more of a challenge to ride, do you think?
No, I'm afraid that may be a result of the rider's incompetence. For the front wheel to be so badly warped, I'm afraid the rider may have been similarly afflicted.
Then, there's a good chance Mr. Natsume has been practicing on this bicycle, I think.
Oh dear, you may be right.
Was that just a burn? Okay. Snowman! Why has somebody built the snowman on some sort of pedestal, do you think?
That's not a pedestal, Naruhodo. That's part of the snowman's body.
Really? But it already has a perfectly good body.
Well, it's true that British snowmen are usually made with 2 balls of snow. Perhaps this is a foreigner.
No one looking at him if he's strange. Poor man. I know how he feels.
If anything, it's Japanese and British 2-ball snowmen that are the strange ones, isn't it? After all, real people do have 3 sections: head, torso, and legs.
Do you ever think that perhaps you think about things too much? Oh, I thought you meant like the sidewalk was the... No, okay, I guess that's fine. London's blanketed and fogged again. Today. Again? That's not a word. Again today. And the sky is covered in cloud. The cloud sea. It's like a sea of clouds. But if you look carefully in the distance, you can just make out the Crystal Tower being built.
Ah, the Crystal Tower, yes. The centerpiece of the Great Exhibition that's to open in 6 months' time.
Everyone's talking about the Great Exhibition of London at the moment, it seems. Totally wouldn't be relevant to the story.
What's to be the largest event of its kind anywhere in the world, with technology and scientists from all over. Can't wait for it myself.
Do you think visiting students from the Far East like us will be granted entry?
The last Great Exhibition was held in London. Had more than 6 million visitors, it seems. And this time, the British had determined to make it an even bigger success to outdo the Paris Exhibition.
I see. That's an incredible number of people. And with so many people expected to attend, we should be easily able to slip in unnoticed.
There's always the honest approach of buying tickets to the main theater entrance, Mr. Naruhodo.
I see it, yeah. Alright, I think that's everything here. Go, how have you been? Here we are again, the eccentric landlord's eccentric top floor abode.
We're here because Mr. Garradeb's one of the one who discovered the incident this morning, don't forget.
Ah, you chaps there.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Thank you for your cooperation in court yesterday.
It was quite a trial.
I forgot what voice I gave this guy. Oh, no, it was much like gruffer, that's right. Very realistic game. The British of this area would do things despite the French. That is true. I fucking love water. Holy shit. Sorry, sometimes when I drink water, I'm just like, holy shit, this tastes so good. Is that just me? Sometimes I just really fucking love the taste of water. Is that strange? Am I the only one who feels like that? Depends on the water. I guess so, yeah. There's not so great water out there.
Come back. Came straight back there after the business the bell yesterday. Didn't expect to wake up to more bully nonsense this morning.
I wonder if you wouldn't mind telling us exactly what happened, Mr. Garradeb.
Yes, I suppose you'd like to know all about that dead loss of an actor chap. In the ground floor room.
Those were exactly Inspector Gregson's words, weren't they? Holy shit, he's actually standing up because he doesn't have the slap on his face this time. There's a single apron drying on that enormous cannon-shaped clothes horse. Look.
No, Mr. Naruhodo, that's a real cannon.
I knew that. I was just testing you. Just like how Curb knew how to spell Shakespeare. She was just testing us all.
Piece of history, that is. Seen plenty of action in the battlefield, I can tell you. Now the old girl and I are just enjoying the peace and quiet of retirement together. And of course she'd come in handy if the enemy decided to launch an attack again.
Is there a war going on that I don't know about?
Oh, a copy of Rand's magazine. The Adventure of Sherlock Holmes is being read all over London. Isn't it wonderful?
Naturally, one asks himself if such a singular detective could really exist. But having met the chap, it's undeniable. He's most certainly singular. Singularly dangerous.
That's genuine public opinion for you, Mr. Sato. Perhaps it should be reflected in the stories.
Make no mistake, Mr. Naruhodo, I intend to snuff out the sort of public opinion we just heard, personally.
I'm starting to see where Mr. Sholmes' untainted reputation comes from now.
That's your military uniform, isn't it, Mr. Garradeb?
Well, ceremonial garb, yes. Been hanging on the wall ever since my retirement, boss. Not an active service now, you know. Doesn't mean much to me anymore. You could have the old thing if you wanted it.
Well, it might Lord Von Zix, perhaps. An overly ostentatious outfit could be... ostentatious outfit like this could be just what he needs.
Very tactful, Mr. Sato. Very tactful indeed. Ah yes, those enormous mortar shells. It's quite something seeing them up close, isn't it?
Didn't you say something about firing them into the barracks, Mr. Garradeb?
Oh, remember, do you? Just a little mishap that occurred during training one day. What are you doing firing at your own men? The captain bellowed at me.
I'm not surprised. A little mishap doesn't really do it justice, does it?
Well, one has these little incidents when one's a hot-headed young private.
Perhaps I should put some evidence that resulted from one of my little mistakes on display.
Why does the great lawyer, like the great detective, want to exhibit some trophies of his finest moments?
Well, he does make a living out of fumbling in court. Good to see Mr. Garadev's Medal of Honor still proudly displayed on the wall.
The inscription reads, "For distinguished participation," if you remember.
Yes, I remember, because I remember thinking even I might stand a chance of picking up honors like that.
Wouldn't know to look at me now, perhaps, but I'm a devil may cry. I mean, care days, you know.
Devil May Care? Devil May Cry? What's that? I've never heard of that. Couldn't catch me playing a game called Devil May Cry. What'd you get up to? Keep thinking you're gonna call Mr. Gyarados?
Well, it's all in the past now, of course. And best left there.
Best not. I want to know now. You look very dashing in uniform there, Mr. Garadev.
Ah, that's what Bob said. So by natsume who used to rent the room downstairs.
Oh, you look so wonderfully young, and courageous and strong.
Yes, well, the chap presented it to me one day, and asked if I'd let him off the month's rent in return.
Oh, I see. So you did, presumably.
I bloody well did not.
Oh,
Portrait is a portrait, but rent is rent. Eh?
And yet it's still proudly there on the wall. We know that what that screen is hiding now. The aftermath of the fiery altercation the other day.
Don't suppose I'll be able to clear that mess up for some time now.
oh dear. This must be a very difficult situation for you.
Also, people talk about twists of fate and what's not. But this is a twist and a half, a rotten show all around.
He's clearly struggling with everything that's happened. These shelves look like they've been completely torn apart from him by a wild beast.
Remind me of the battle of my one, don't you know?
Ah, the experience of a seasoned veteran.
And we had us surrounded all sides. We really thought we were done for. The whole Bali company. Take a real pounding from their cannons, so all we could do was run for our lives.
Oh, I thought that story was going in a different direction, actually.
Well, the whole experience taught me one thing. I can tell you. When you're done for, you're really done for.
That's not what a lawyer. That's not what a lawyer who often finds himself under fire wants to hear. That's an impressive collection of cakes on that fancy silver cake stand there.
I feel sure that it was full of cakes when we first investigated here as well.
Yes, quite right. Haven't touched it since. Haven't done much at all, really, since it all happened. Time's rather stood still for me, you know?
Oh,
Time has stood still now. That's an interesting phrase. I might be able to use that excuse when I'm next supposed to be tidying the office.
you could just tidy up, Mr. Naruto.
Can she read our mind? I didn't mean to do that. Okay. Alright! Okay, just generic dialogue. That's a new expression. Some other time then. Remember when he separated this man from his wife? Yep! I remember that case feeling really stupid. So I'm hoping this kind of redeems that. And makes it relevant somehow, I don't know. Ugh. game looks so fun, but I've only seen parts. Oh, welcome. Yeah, this is the last Ace Attorney game I have to play. I've played the entire series, so I'm like I'm a mega Ace Attorney fan that hasn't actually played every game yet. So I'm glad to be getting to this. I'm really enjoying it. Though I will say voicing everything is kind of tiring, but I'm enjoying doing that as well, so I don't mind. But yes. Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it. It must have been a real shock for you this morning. I hear you discovered what had happened.
Oh, well, that hopeless actor chap rises at 5 o'clock sharp every morning without fail. But at 5:30 this morning, he still hadn't lit the gas. So I went down and knocked on his door, but no bally answer.
And that's when you broke into his room by kicking down the door?
Well, I called on that rum-looking Japanese chap to do the grunt work, of course.
Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? The man could have just overslept by half an hour.
That's very true, Mr. Naruhodo. If 30 minutes oversleeping warranted such behavior, I'd have to kick your door down every morning.
Well, better to be safe than sorry and all that.
Is it just me, or is he avoiding our gaze now all of a sudden?
Except that was a sorry situation indeed that, you found on the far side of the door.
No, I didn't need to select the same thing again. Oh, fuck. Oops. Alright, let's just speed through this dialogue. Here we go. Nice. Mr. Shamspear. The game weird little girl psychic. Yes, she is. The victim's name here is Mr. Shamspear, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, William Shamspear. Took the ground floor 3 months ago now.
And how would you describe him?
In a word, destitute.
Destitute?
Well, let's face it, the only redeeming feature of that room is the cheap rent. Anyone wanting to live in a place like that is either broke as a body screw loose.
So hard to choose which category Soseki's I'm referring to. I gotta stop pressing the triggers on accident. Holy shit.
Mr. Naruhodo, that's a little rude.
He was doing research as well.
Research? Into what?
Shakespeare, of course, Shakespeare! Read a few plays of the old bard myself, you know. Romeo and Hamlet and all that.
Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. He's known as Sao in Japanese, as you know, and many of his works have already been translated.
Sao, really? I vaguely remember her. Oh, Pearl, right. Yeah, from the first few games. It seems incredible that Shakespeare was shortened to Sao, though. Someone was too heavy-handed there. There were a lot of costumes in the victim's room, actually, weren't there?
Of course, Mr. Natsume is a scholar of English literature as well. I imagine he and Mr. Shamspear would have much in common.
Shakespeare interpretation disagreement leads to shocking murder. Let's hope it's not that. That's a thing. Sao was a name used from Japan, which I found out by looking up. Wow.
Mr. Naruhodo, how really rude.
And yesterday's events. After Mr. Natsume's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between then and this morning?
Whoa, no. Must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. Snow was coming down rather heavily, as I remember, and it was completely dark already. That failed actor chap was out at the time.
Mr. Garadeb noticed there was no light from his room or something, I suppose.
Couldn't summon the energy for anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire up here. It was after 8 before Shamspear got back, and the chap was up until past 1 in the morning, I'll have you know. Suppose he met us in sometime after that. I was asleep by then, so I'm rather in the dark there.
Well, thank you. That was very illuminating. Illumination Studios making the Mario movie.
Is everything alright, Mr. Sato? Well, I was just thinking it's a little strange, that's all. Mr. Garadab, you up here in your room all evening, if I understood correctly.
Not a big fan of stairs, not with this blasted leg.
Then, how is it that you seem to know? The precise movements of your tenant on the ground floor, I mean.
Bah!
That's a very good point. God, that animation's... I like seeing new animations for old characters. That's cool. I can't imagine that you could hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here. Does this old man like to spy on his tenants? Is that it?
I know what you're thinking. It's Bolly outright. I'm an ex-military, don't you know? I don't go around spying on my tenant. Why would I?
Then how did you know Mr. Garadab?
It's the gas woman. The gas tells me anything. Everything.
The gas? Don't remind me of the Mario releases much. Is it March? Speaking of March, I should probably pick up a few things off the eShop at some point. Before it dies. What on earth do you mean, sir? How can the gas tell you anything, let alone everything?
Well, as you're probably aware, the gas is supplied to the building by pipes.
Yes, I'd more or less worked that out.
Every room in the building is connected by a single pipe to the gas main outside, and the gas company supplies gas to its property via the main.
Yes, I understand that too.
Let me see if I can explain. Let's say I was to light the gas lamps up there. What would you suppose would happen?
Well, obviously, the room would get brighter.
Exactly, but at the same time, the lights in all the other rooms of the house would dim for a moment.
What? They dim? Why?
Perhaps it's because when you light a gas lamp, it briefly loses more gas than usual, and that reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for the other lamps that are connected to it. That might explain why the other lamps dim momentarily, mightn't it?
Yes, of course. But
Everything's connected to because everything's connected to a single supply pipe. Is that supposed to happen, though? Sounds rather undesirable.
Jolly good points. Fact is, the gas company's pipes in these parts are pretty hopeless, long worn out, and barely got gassed in them to start with. Opposites also true, of course. Extinguish the lamps up here and they grow brighter in the rest of the house.
Ah, right, I see. So by watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening elsewhere.
You got it.
Oh, of course. Because when people come back home in the evening, and before they go to sleep at night, what they're guaranteed to do is either light or put out their lamps and fires. Clever.
In point of fact, the room on the ground floor and the one above it use slightly different amounts of gas. By watching the lights in here closely, I can work out almost exactly what's going on in the whole house.
Gosh, that's fascinating, Mr. Garadab. Absolutely fascinating.
Oh well, nothing to it really.
And I can't really see that it's going to help us with the case either. What I'd like to know is why Mr. Garadab is so interested in what his tenants are up to in the first place. I really feel like there's more to it than idle curiosity. Well, we've done as much as investigating here as we can, I think. Perhaps we ought to go to the prison and speak with Mr. Natsume again.
A good idea.
I want to turn off auto. That's annoying. I had it on because I was like doing a few exercises with my arm. But like, okay, only watching very closely. Yeah, he's not spying, indeed. Oh god. Okay.
Look, Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Natsume, have the police finished questioning you now?
Welcome, student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire!
Yes?
What did he tell me? Is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me?
Let me guess. You're talking about Mr. Sholmes?
He actually calls himself a great detective, Mr. Natsume, not a ghost.
But his diabolic deductions, they're not of this world. They've left me. Ah, cursed! I'm cursed, I tell you.
Dude, definitely getting caught in prison after that, yeah. Well, that sort of hurts.
Credit where credit is due, Mr. Naruhodo. You were heavily involved in the deduction too.
Yes, and moving on. We have some wonderful news. Oh! The victim that we all thought was dead has come back to life again. Now, in the absolutely worst case, you could only be tried for attempted murder. That's great, isn't it, Natsume? Mr. Natsume? It's terrible! Oh. I'm stuck in the cell, suffering for some silly long end of the stick. You didn't you? Confess, you're a killer. Why the mustache? Constant questions. I'm sorry to hear that. Ah, that selfish shyster. Make up your mind. Are you dead or alive? If you were, going to come back to life, though I boring dying. Wickedly wishy-washy, William. His eyebrows are carrying variety of personality, yeah. Well, it seems likely that Mr. Shamsby was never actually dead in the first place. Ah, yes, that might make sense. And I'm pleased that he's alive, of course. Our lively debate last night was so much fun, I'd be sad to think that it was our last. Oh. Oops. Mr. Natsume, does that mean that you did see the victim last night? That you met with Mr. Shamsia, didn't you? Man, the face of a man who knows he's fucked up. I'm not saying another word! I'm about to have a royal present! Who do you think I am? Please, Mr. Natsume, we need to hear your side of the story. Oh, why am I cursed like this? Well, here's my evidence of being a lawyer. Have I shown you this before, Mr. Natsume? Oh yes, the sweet, sweet aroma of our beloved homeland! It shows that the wearer is a defense lawyer. It means nothing in Great Britain, but of course I still wear it. Oh, I know exactly how you feel. Locum student Mr. Naruhiro Esquire! My Haramaki belly band! I don't feel right without it. Your Haramaki belly band? It's perfect for the cold English winters. Just the thing to keep my tummy warm. Yes, I see the link. Almost. Can you tell us exactly what happened last night then, Mr. Natsume? There is nothing to tell, but Mr. Naruhiro Esquire. I'm eternally grateful for you helping me out with that accursed case yesterday. The case that saw poor Miss Green hospitalized after she ended up with a knife in her back. It's hard to believe that was only yesterday. Yes, it's been more like 2 months. Well, 4 months. After the trial was over, I trot my wheelie back. Wheelie way back to my lowly lodgings. And that evening, at past 9, must been... What past 9? Just beyond 9 o'clock? Okay. I visited Mr. Shamspeare. So, you did go to the victim's room then? As we feared. I didn't do anything wrong! I'd never been to his room before. It was the first time! Then, what made you decide to go? I bumped into him when I arrived back at the house. We got to chatting and it developed into a discussion. But he had to go out, so I bade him farewell. That ties in what with Mr. Garrett had said, though the victim went out and came back after 8. We met again later that evening, at around 9, or just after, when I took him some nice tea I'd brewed as a gift. So it was you who brought the tea that had clearly been drunk, at the scene then? And I suppose you were discussing the works of Shakespeare, were you? That's right! That's exactly right. Romeo and Juliet! Who was the stronger? It was a delightful debate. I'm sure. Such a stimulating subject, Shakespeare! And the debate became very heated, so you slipped in poison into Mr. Shamsier's tea. No! Never! Not at all! Team Juliet won. That was me. When I left this room, the flamboyant fellow was fighting fit. I swear it, categorically. Okay. Oh fuck, I didn't mean to select the same thing again. Death battle! Romeo vs. Juliet! Who will win? Alright, cursed existence. Mr. Natsume, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. That you have a cursed existence.
I'm sure I've mentioned this to you before, but I've been here in Great Britain for a year now, and that time I've learned it's no place for me.
It can be very trying to live in a foreign land and adapt to the ways of another culture.
There are foreigners everywhere I look, and they all stare at me. They all laugh. That's the impression I get whenever I go out. Make me scared to leave my room. Which is why I become a recluse. But even in my room, I have no respite for my fears. I've moved more times than I can remember. Then 1 week ago, I moved into Briar Road.
But why? I mean, why did you choose that place? It doesn't seem very comfortable.
Because the rent is cheap. I have so little money. It spoke to me.
The rent?
Obviously, there's a reason why it's cheap. Because the room is cursed.
I thought it was uncanny. I thought so out of place. Cursed how?
The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there.
Oh no.
He was only a young man, but one morning he was found dead and no one could explain why. Surely that no one would want to live in a room with a history like that. I didn't. When the letting agent recommended place, I wavered. But I want books, and books cost money. A horrible history is a small price to pay. When I realized it means I could buy my books, I signed the lease like lightning.
Brave or blinkered?
But after I moved in, I soon came to realize what I'd done. I realized how horrible that room really was.
Gosh, was it really so awful? How did the room's horrible history affect you, Mr. Natsume? What happened?
At the first, there was just a feeling. The feeling of beady eyes boring into my back watching me.
Do you think that just might have been your mind playing tricks on you?
No. My mind doesn't know any tricks. It was someone else. It's been one long nightmare ever since I was given the keys to this place.
A nightmare? You've been having bad dreams, you mean?
All the souls have died in that room, lean over in my sleep and tried to strangle me.
That really is horrible.
And now I've come to think of it, it happened again last night too. The very same night that Mr. Shakespeare was writhing in agony from the poison in his body. I was on the verge of being suffocated silently by those miserable spirits in my room.
You simply must move out of that room as soon as possible.
You're right, I know it, and that's why I'm researching for the next room with a history to call home.
I think perhaps you should try to avoid accommodation with any kind of history at all. Otherwise, I'm scared that you yourself may become history.
Ugh, Susato-san knows how to make the man listen.
Of course! Mr. Lord of the Manor is very worried about the curse on the room as well.
You mean Mr. Garadeb?
Yes, he knows that if people keep dying in there, he'll never be able to rent it out again.
Well, that's true. I, for one, wouldn't go near the place.
Ah, perhaps that may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas taps and his tenants' movements.
Ah, I see. You mean because he's worried about their well-being? He does seem to have an unusually keen interest in the amount of gas in his pipes. There must be a reason why he keeps such close tabs on the occupants of the less rooms. I wonder if this discussion happens in the opposite direction. If you went here first and then went to Mr. Garadeb, they would talk about this in the other location.
What do you mean he pays so much attention to the gas lamps?
My dear, no, it's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsume. Please forget I said anything.
Oh, now you're talking about me behind my back as well.
What's important is that Mr. Shakespeare isn't in fact dead at all. Once he's come around and is able to tell us what happened, we'll be able to get you released.
Yes, please. Oh, I do hope you're right.
Excuse me.
Inspector Gregson!
I couldn't help overhearing what you just said, and on that note, I have some good news and some bad news.
Oh.
Which you want first?
Always, every time the bad news come first. When hope is all you have, hold on to it. That's my guiding principle.
Right, well, in that case, the good news it is. Sorry, but it's just a lot easier to explain everything that way.
Then why did you ask me my preference?
As you might have heard, the victim, Mr. Shansby, was just unconscious. He's come round now.
Yes, we saw it happen in all its terrifying glory.
He's still being treated by the doctors, but we managed to get a written statement from him already.
Oh, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Natsume?
Oh, thank goodness! It's all over then. I can leave the somber cell.
Sorry, no, that's not on the cards.
What?
Why ever not, Inspector?
Mr. Shansby, because I'm implicated someone has been responsible for what happened last night.
Implicated someone?
Oh dear.
You don't mean?
I'm sorry to say I do, yes. He's pointing the finger at you, Mr. Natsume.
Ah!
My sweet boys, and did he seek it to end my life? That wicked kaiti of Soseki Natsume.
No!
So I'm afraid you'll be appearing in court as blind. You'll be wanting to make the necessary preparations.
Ah! No!
And so, once again, Soseki-san found himself having to take the dock in the Old Bailey. Whether his room was haunted, or whether he was just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day, I would represent him in court, and do my utmost to break the curse that blighted him. And to be continued. So is that the end of the investigation? Trial part 1. Okay. I think I'm gonna end off here. I think this is a good point to end. I usually stop at these save screens, because it's very nice when they actually give me like a very good save screen to just end, you know? I did do the entire trial of last time in one session, but I don't want to rush this game or anything, so yeah. I'm quite tired as well, so yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. I will be here tomorrow night as well, I think. I'll just be chipping away at this game bit by bit. But yeah, good night, everyone. Thanks for joining. See you later.